Hi there, Calaran here, and today you would have seen me upload a video in full of me rage quitting a race that I was involved in, this one here. I'm going to go into a little bit of an explanation as to why, because no one rage quits a race because they're winning and the race is going great. There are always kind of many factors. And I'm gonna go through those, basically what the causes were, and also some advice on some clean racing for future. So this all starts with the next incident, which you're going to see. That's after I get suitably abusive and rage quit in a big hissy fit, which I'm very proud of. Basically, you're going to see here as I come over, he gets involved in an incident under the toll booth. The person in front goes ahead. I think I can do the same. He moves and it causes a massive pile-up. Effectively, this just is what it is. He's moved when I wasn't expecting him to, and as a result, it's kind of delayed things. Now, he then respawns, which causes issues, which you're going to see in the next videos, next clips, as he will be in a car that isn't a car that's supposed to be in this race, so it's a banned car. So this is the next incident, and you can see that he's been waiting for Mertrain, who's ahead there in the blade, and as we come around here, you're going to see that he tries to make a move up the inside, doesn't get it done, and we connect. At this point, then drives off and honks at me, which was doing wonders for my mood at this point after the previous incident. As you can see, I basically call him out, again, somewhat rudely, certainly more rudely than would be necessary. So I call him out, and in fairness, he waits. So this is then further on. And this is basically the first clip where you see he kind of hits into the back of me because I have a different braking point because he's in a faster car. At this point, coming up to this corner, you'll see he clips the inside of the apex and goes wide and then hits into the wall. At this point, I make a move, he closes the door, and at this point, I've had enough. Now, should caveat this by saying that, the vast majority of this really wouldn't have happened, or certainly I wouldn't have reacted this way had I, in effect, been in a better mood. Obviously, these incidents are what they are, and at this point, I then quit. But yeah, I mean, from this is obviously just the start of the race, but when this is something I'll touch on a little bit later as well, but if you're in a bad mood, you're going to react. Your patience isn't what it would be, and you make mistakes. You react in ways that you wouldn't otherwise normally react. So with that being said, here is some top five that you can do to try and avoid incidents on the racetrack. First is don't move. So here's another clip. This is one where I'm racing an ASBO, and as you can see, I clip the inside. I then back off so people can go. At this point, I wait for every car to go past before moving off, so that it doesn't cause any incidents. You don't want to interfere with people behind you. It's not their fault that you've crashed. Leading on to that, backing off when you're coming up to a corner. So this is the first corner, and this is really good advice for any first corner, is to back off. You'll see with the flashes coming out of the back of my F1 car that I'm feathering the throttle. You can see the damage and carnage that's going on as people don't back off, as people ram into the back of each other, and you'll notice the amount of positions that I gain as a result of just simply backing off and avoiding the issues. Bear in mind, obviously, that if you're racing different cars will have different braking points. You do need to take that into account and make sure you leave suitable space. If you're not sure of a car's braking point, give them as much space as you think they will need. But as you can see, diving up the inside because people not doing backing off. The third one is this one, which is about giving space. So here's the first example of what happens when you don't give space. There's a monumental clusterfuck at the first corner. At this point, I'm going to switch over and show an example of myself and Bruffy, who's in the top right-hand corner. Thanks to him for permission for this video. Showing basically side-by-side racing and how you can get around those corners by giving each other space where appropriate.
Yes. Oh, he's got the speeder on the outside though. No, he's just going to take it for the next bit. Come on, keep the nose in. You can't go around the outside in these. Oh, maybe you can. Side by side. Side by side in trucks around a hairpin. That was cool. That was some cool racing. Oh, fluffed it up. No, it's oh, it's oh, this is good. Oh, did he really brake boost in a truck race? What a tryhard.
Okay, so the next is non-contact mode. So this isn't the actual non-contact mode, but it's effectively something that I touched on earlier. Now, in fairness to the gentleman here in the wrong car, the host of this race didn't specify that if you end up in the wrong car to not get involved. That's something that I do. So in fairness to him, he wouldn't have done that. But just a general note of advice is if you're racing with specific cars and you end up in the wrong car, by all means race around, but don't interfere with anyone's race, don't make contact with anyone, don't get involved in a battle, and don't finish the race. Basically, don't affect anyone who is in the race because you're no longer in it, you're not in the correct car. So it's always good advice for any lobby, I think. But the number one is just don't play them in a bad mood. I was in a bad mood that day. It's entirely on me as to how I reacted because of that. It's no one else's fault for my reactions. Yes, there were incidents and I was frustrated, but in that day I was pretty tired, pretty exhausted by that point, and I wasn't in a great mood. And that's the best advice we can give. Don't play when in a bad mood. There's no grudges or anything held. This just is what it is. But yeah, best advice, don't play when you're in a bad mood, and you probably won't have a bad time. Thanks a lot.